Video, I'm going to show you guys how to make a dining table set in Blender. And this is as someone who's very new to Blender, so hopefully this should be relatively easy to follow. So first up is I am going to open a new file in Blender. And make sure to save that. This is what the generic kind of new file looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this square. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make like my table. So I want to click on the square and I'm going to go to actually edit mode. And up in edit mode, we can click either the select vertex, edge, or face. I'm going to click face and I'm going to click the top of my square. And then I'm going to hit G, which gives us this move tool, or you can just click the move tool. And I'm going to drag this down a bit. I'm going to do it even smaller. Perfect. And then I'm going to click on one of the sides and pull it out a little longer. Perfect. I'm going to click back onto the main select box tool and I'm going to click back on object. And I'm going to click G again to move it. G is move. And I might click S now to scale it up more. Awesome. And notice that my scaling tool is like not even on the table. It's like floating in the air there. So to fix that, I'm just going to go object, set origin, origin to geometry or geometry to origin. There you go. See, now it's like actually making sense where that middle part is. Cool. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of rotate underneath, which I'm just using 2 fingers on my trackpad. And I'm going to split this. So I'm going to go back to object mode, go to edit. And again, I'm going to click the face selection and I'm going to click here. And hold on, I got to hide my muting things because they're getting in my way. There you go. Click here and I'm going to hit Control R, which is a shortcut to getting us our loop cut tool. And I'm not clicking anything, I'm just ghosting my cursor over. And if I scroll up or 2 fingers on a trackpad scroll, I can make multiple cuts. And I'm going to make just like a ton. The idea is I'm going to try to make like a tiny square that's going to be the leg that we pull out. So like something like that's fine. I'm going to click and I'm going to hit escape. Because right now it's saying I can move and put it wherever I want, but I just want it even, so I'm going to hit escape. Whoops, go back. It's not listening to me. Okay. And then I'm just going to click the face again or one of the faces again and hit Control R. And I'm going to make sure I cut up the other side. So that's good. Perfect. So I should look like I have a grid on my table now. That's perfect. And now I'm going to click my face button and I'm going to click not the very outside square. I want kind of just the next one in. So I'm gonna click this one and I'm gonna hold down Shift and click its opposites. So what we're doing is we're grabbing where the table legs will like appear from. So see, I have those selected. All I did was click the first one I wanted, hold down Shift and click the other 3. And now we're going to extrude them, which is basically I'm going to pull a shape from those corners. So to do that, I'm going to click E. And I'm not clicking anything, I'm just pulling my mouse down. And there, we've started to make some legs. Okay, so here we got the little legs. And I can go ahead and click up on the edit mode and go back to object, and I can kind of scooch my table up a little. It doesn't really matter, but we have our Z axis, which is like the flat, like grid floor. And then the Y axis goes left to right. I'm sorry, I meant the axis. The X axis is our flat floor. Z axis goes up and down. So I kind of like to make sure that my table is like right along the green red axis kind of like sits right there. But anyway, okay, so this is our table, but right now it's looking pretty boring. So what we can do is we can go to our edit mode, and this is where we can kind of do some fun things. So I could just grab the bottom faces of my chair or my table legs, and if I click S, which is scale, I could scooch them out a little bit. So that gives them kind of just like a wee bit of a like angle if I wanted, which kind of just looks like cute, especially if it's like a really heavy dining table. I can also click the insides of these faces because maybe I want more room for the chairs. So I'm going to click the inside, and I'm still on the S scale tool right here. If I go to one of the accesses, I can kind of stretch and make more space between those chair legs. There you go, like that. Cool. Another thing I could do is I might create a bridge in between, because a lot of times you'll see dining chair sets that have like support or something. So what would that look like if I did that here? Well, I'm going to click the inside face of this left leg, and I'm going to hold down Shift and click the inside face of this right leg. And then I'm going to try to make some loop cuts. So I'm going to go Control R. Oops, Control R, which is loop cuts. I think it wants me to click off of scale. Okay, so we're back on regular selection. I got both of them selected. I'm gonna hit Control R, which is loop cuts. And I'm not gonna do anything fancy. I'm gonna just add like 4 loop cuts on this side and click escape to set it to the default. Perfect. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And 4. Perfect. Okay. So we've got these cuts, and the only reason we did that is so that I could grab the face tool and I could grab one side and hold down Shift and click the other side. And what I'm going to do is right click bridge faces. And if I click that, it automatically connects those 2 faces. And here we kind of have like now like a little table edge support, which of course I can click the face tool. I can click it, and I can click our move tool, which shortcut is G, and I could kind of move that down or adjust it if I wanted. Like I might make it a little thinner, which I'm just going to do that by kind of messing with the placement, trying to make sure it doesn't like mess up the look of the table at all. I'm pretending it's a wooden table, so I don't really care. There you go. Perfect. Um, Now I could do this to the other side, or if I wanted to be lazy slash smart, I could go up to our X-ray mode and click that. It shows us the X-ray of our object right now. And I'm going to click on vertex. And what I want to do is I want to drag and select all the vertices on this half that doesn't have the little thingy there. And I'm going to click X, and I'm going to delete the vertices. Awesome. So if I go back to object mode, we only have half a table right now, but that's fine because we're going to add a modifier. We're going to mirror it. So I'm going to click on the table. I'm going to go down to modifiers, which is this little blue like wrench looking thing. And I'm going to click add modifier, and I'm going to search mirror. And what we want to do in my case is I want it to mirror on the y-axis. So I'm going to click Y and make sure I turn off X. And boom, just mirrored it. So let me turn off the X-ray. So what's cool now is any changes I make to this one side, I'm going to automatically do over here. You can see it automatically ended or mirrored it. So it created the little foot or support on the other side. So now I can just kind of play around, and I can detail this side. So, and actually, because this mirror thing is so awesome, I could probably do, oh, I probably could actually make this easier for myself. I'm going to click back right X-ray, and I'm going to actually get rid of this half as well. So now I only have a fourth of the table, right? So catch me. and I'm going to mirror it, but I'm going to mirror it two ways. Let's see if this works. This may work, this may not work. I may be just kidding myself. I think this only works if you have like it connected. There you go. Right on the connector of the vertices. So this may not work. I may have been trying to be smart and I realize I'm not that smart. Yeah, I'm gonna go back. Never mind. I'm not smart. We're not doing that. I like this better. Okay. So I'm gonna just putz around and kind of add some details here. The table itself, I want to actually click and kind of create like a little bit of a ledge. So I'm going to go Control R, which is going to give me a loop cut. And I'm going to click and I want to bring this up a little bit. Perfect. So that's a good cut. And now what I want to do is I want to grab the face tool and I'm going to click on one of these long faces I just made. And it should be that if I hit Option or Alt and click, maybe it's Control on this computer. There you go. Control on one of the sides, I can kind of like select multiple at a time. So I'm just holding down Control and clicking. Awesome. So I've got these guys. I'm going to bring them out. I'm going to scale them a little. So I'm going to just click S and then move them out, and see what I'm doing is creating this like cute little lip. And I could also like instead hit E, and E would just bring out the sides, but it only really does it like one at a time. So I could only really bring out like this side and then the other side. So I'm going to just do S and just scale it because I think that's cuter. Yeah, so that was ES, and that actually did what I wanted, so that's perfect. Cool, cool, cool. Now if you wanted your table to look softer, we could add a subdivision surface modifier. And when I first click that, you can see it looks kind of gross now. That's because we would first want to put it on simple subdivision modifier. And then we're going to actually add a second subdivision surface modifier. And this one we're going to set on Catmull Clark, and we're going to just kind of raise this up a little bit. So now it's like kind of cutesy and soft. If you don't like that, you can of course not use that. But also in edit mode, if you add more cuts, it'll sharpen stuff up. So if I click on this side and I add more cuts to our little balance beam, whatever you call it. So let's just say I do that and click and hit escape. See, it's kind of sharpened up that edge. So the more cuts you make, the more sharp it's going to look. So I could add more cuts if I wanted, but I might add more cuts to the edges there because I kind of want it to be sharper there. I'm gonna add one there, and that's just Control R to make a loop cut. It's also this tool right here. Sweet. Okay, so let's say that's good for the table. All right, so I'm going to go back to object mode, zoom out, cute little table. All right. Now, if I'm ready, I can go ahead and merge this. So I'm going to go to my modifiers and I'm going to go to the mirror modifier and I'm going to go to the side and click apply. So now it's no longer mirrored. It is a solid object. Awesome. Perfect. I think we're ready to make our chairs now. And I can always go back and edit this, but right now I'm impatient. I want to make a chair. So we want to click off of this. We do not want the table to be highlighted orange. We want to click off and we want to add a new cube. And we're going to kind of do the same thing we did when we made the table. Now I will say, if you're rotating and you're like, I'm trying to stick on the cube, but it keeps rotating just around the table, click on the cube and go select, or sorry, my bad, view frame selected. View frame selected will mean it only rotates around whatever object you have selected currently. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing I made a table. We're just doing it in a smaller way. So I'm going to go to Edit, grab my face selector, click the top, click G or the Move tool to kind of shrink it down. I'm going to go back to Edit, and I'm going to make him rise a little bit. And I'm going to go to View, or sorry, Object, Set Origin, Origin Geometry, perfect. Okay, and I'm trying to see, right now this is like a very big chair, so I'm gonna actually shrink it a little bit because I want this to be like a dining set, so like at least 4 people should be able to sit at this table. That's my goal. Um, and then we're gonna make cuts on the bottom again, the same way we did the table to make an ability, like so we can extrude the little legs. So I'm gonna click, go back to edit mode from object mode, make sure we have the face thing selected. I'm gonna click on, it doesn't matter, one of the sides, it could be the bottom, and hit Control R and 2 fingers on my mouse pad and scroll to make little cuts. Click and hit escape so it sets it evenly. And hit Control R again. And we're doing the same thing on the opposite side. Click, escape. Perfect. Click on our face selector. Click select the little select tool at the top. And clicking kind of where I want the leg to extrude from, hold down Shift and click the same place on the opposite sides. And then I'm actually going to click over here on my little navigation thingy, the Y or the X, because I want to see, and I want to extrude these so that they're even with the table over here. So let me hit E, and I'm not clicking anything. I'm just kind of dragging my cursor down until it's where I want, and I'm clicking. Cute. Now this is a little, I think the legs are a little too far in, and I want to try to match the style of my table. My table, the legs are kind of like spreading out a little bit. So without releasing these faces, I'm going to click S, and I can just kind of click and drag and scale these out a little bit. One, that makes more sense because then now the chair is going to be a little more balanced. So I'm going to just kind of meddle with this a bit. There you go. I like that. Perfect. Now I can mess with this more, but of course a chair needs usually a back unless you want to make just a bench. You can make a bench if you wanted. That's your deal. But if you want to make the back of a chair, it's the same idea of the legs. We're going to go to edit mode, and we just made this cute little grid on the back, and that's going to help you. You're just going to click on the first square in the back, hold down Command, and click the other one on the other side. That selects all of these. And you're going to hit E and just move your cursor up to make the back of the chair and click. Cute little back of the chair. Now, this is like super rigid. This looks like a very uncomfortable chair. Chairs usually don't have such straight backs. Usually it's kind of bent a little to conform to like human backs. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this top part. So we can go to our move tool and just kind of drag it back. That's fine. That works for right now. But I'll show you in a sec how to kind of make this look a little more natural. But I mean, so far we have a chair. Like that's great. We've got a chair. I want to make some details on this chair though. So I'm going to click one of the faces. I'm going to hit Control R. I'm going to scroll up and make at least 3 cuts. And then I'm going to hit Escape to set it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click one of the cuts on this bottom area right here. And I'm on edge right now. I'm going to just click one of these edges, and I'm going to go select loops, edge loops. What this does is it swings around and it selects all the connected edges. And with this selected, I can move my chair in a little bit. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like make a natural like curve of the back, like a kind of shape for my chair. So you do whatever you want for your chair. That's up to you. But I'm trying to make mine look like, I don't know.
special. Awesome. And I'm also looking at my legs and I feel like my legs are like too far in. Um, so what I might do, I'm gonna just, how do I want to do this? I'm gonna hit my see-through or X-ray button right here so I can see everything. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to, uh, no, I'm not gonna hit the X-ray button. I'm just gonna click the front faces of these legs and I'm just going to hit G and move them forward. And then I'll just hit the back space or the back sides and move them forward. And do kind of a similar system for the side legs, which if I was smart, I would move the table so I could actually see, which how would I do that? I'm gonna go back to object mode, click my table, hit G to move and just get it out a little bit. Okay, click back on chair. Awesome. Edit. Um, Something that you could also use that I love is up here, proportional editing. If I turn this on, what it means is when I go to move like one of these legs, let's say, and if I move it, it's going to adjust other shapes along with it. So it stretches them with. So I'm no longer moving just one side. I'm like adjusting the whole shape of the chair, which that's awesome. And I'm going to use that to kind of bring in the back of the chair. So I'm going to grab these two back corners. I'm going to make sure my proportional editing is turned on. I'm going to hit S and I'm going to scale in those sides a bit because I think that just looks cuter. And I'm going to, I think I'll scale in the top side a bit too. Now, see, if you're scaling it and you're like, well, that's doing more than I wanted. I want it to be more gradual. You can go up to the proportional editing button here, go to the arrow next to it, and you can kind of shrink the size of the proportional editing. So I might sure get to 0.5. And there you see it's a little like gentler. I'm going to try to instead grab the edges of the chair, the top edges. Hold down Shift, click. Let's try the proportional editing again. Yeah, that's a little better. Wait. And let's say I'm trying to be cute and I want to put like holes in the back of the chair. So I'm going to grab my edges and I'm going to just click and grab the areas that I want to cut out of the chair. So I'm going to cut them out of this side, but I need to cut them out of the other side too. There's probably a faster way to do this, but I'm just doing it this way. Got them selected. I'm going to hit X and I'm going to delete faces. Sweet. Now, problem is now we've got inside parts showing through. So I need to grab my edge selection right here, and I'm going to click on the edges of each cutout. So I have these all selected, and I'm going to go to select loops, edge loops. And see now it's selected all the little cuts. And then we should be able to right click and go bridge edge loops. Oops. It's maybe something that we have to do one at a time, which will be a pain, but that's fine. Yeah, I might need to do that one at a time. Let's grab them, which is annoying. There's probably a faster way, but this is how I'm doing it right now. See, that works. That filled that in. There we go. No, it didn't work on that side. What did it do here? Try it again. Select edge loops. There we go. Okay. Now, why is this side being difficult? Oh, it's because I didn't do it right the first time. That's why. There we go. Okay. Yes, that's looking right. Now the same thing as we did to the table, I'm going to add a smoothing modifier. So I'm going to click on my chair. I'm going to add a subdivision surface. This looks ugly, so I'm going to click simple and I'm going to add a second one, subdivision surface. And this one looks a little better. And I can adjust the levels here. Awesome. And if I want, I can click and I can add more cuts to sharpen certain areas. So if I wanted to sharpen up the like feet, because the feet are pretty round, I could go in and I could add extra cuts. But I'm okay with this for now. I'm gonna go to edit mode, back to object mode, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my chair and scooch it in. I might make my chair a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna hit S and I'm just gonna drag to make the chair a bit bigger so that it works a little more for the table. Hit G to move, and let's move it up so that it's kind of even with the floor of the table. And I'm going to scooch it over because I'm going to make another chair copy. So to make a copy of an object, I'm going to hit Shift D. And this second guy appears on my mouse and he's connected. I want to put him evenly on the other side. So I need to look on what axis I want it on. I want it on, I don't know where he went, just went. I want it on the Y axis. So I'm going to hit Shift D and then I'm going to click Y and it'll lock to the Y axis and I can click and place it wherever I want. And then I'm going to hold Shift and click on both of these. And then I'm going to hit Shift D again. And I want these on the X axis. Perfect. I'm just going to place them on the other side. And then I'm going to hit rotate, which should be R. And I'm going to go on the blue line, which is kind of our horizontal. And if I spin this and hold down, I think it's control, it'll give me even intervals of 5. So that'll let me kind of just move this around easier. Cute. And now I have a cute little kind of dining room set up and I can add more chairs if I want. Um, what I might do is add a floor plane, which let's grab all of this and let's just scooch it so it's centered just because I want it to be. All right. Scooch these chairs in a little bit so they're all even. Perfect. Okay. So let's add a floor plane. So I'm going to make sure I'm clicked off them. I don't want to have something highlighted when I make this. Otherwise, it'll become part of whatever I'm selected. So it'll become part of the table. I don't want that. I need to click off. And I want to go add. And I'm going to go to mesh plane. So you can see a little floor just appeared. I'm going to just click S, which is scale, and click and drag to make it bigger. And if you have any chairs that are like peeking through the bottom of the floor, like if they're like this, well, then you can just grab it and scooch it up. And you can always hit Y or X to kind of see what the side view is. Perfect. So now I want to add some materials. And really all you need is to download kind of whatever texture you want for your chairs. So me, I already downloaded like a wood texture, but I'll show you what this looks like. So up here, we're going to go to shading. Sweet. And here it's showing kind of what the table looks like right now in like a quote unquote like real environment. And there's nothing happening because we haven't assigned any materials to it. So I'm going to click on the table. Here is the node that's showing, this is the color of the table, which right now it's white, but I can click and make it blue if I want it or any color. It's showing how metallic the table is. I can adjust that, the roughness, IOR, which is like kind of its glass quality, and alpha is like how see-through it is. So I could very well make like a glass table if I wanted, which would be like super cool. Like I could just lower the alpha and raise this up and it would look like this like glass table, which I kind of love that, but I want to show you something else for right now. So we're going to go next to base color. I'm going to click the see a little yellow dot and I'm going to drag to the side. and I want to type image color. And I'm going to click this, just set it right next to it. And what I want to do is I want to open an image that's going to basically be wrapped around my table. So I'm going to click open and I'm going to go to downloads and click on a wooden texture that I got. I just downloaded it from the internet, but what's cool is it like wraps around and makes it look like now that it's like a wooden table. And I can go to these settings, I can play around and mess with it. Right now it's on a flat kind of effect, which means it just kind of basically falls over the table, but I could switch it to box, which I kind of like box better. I'm gonna, yeah, no, I like flat. I lied, I like flat. Awesome. And over here, I can still adjust like the roughness, kind of the shiny. So maybe I want to pretend like my table has this really nice gloss over it, because that's bougie. So I'll just do that. And the chairs, I'm going to grab all my chairs. And I think what I want is I want them to have, uh, oh, we got to save this one. Hold on. So I am going to copy the material that we just made of the chairs, or sorry, the table. And now I'm going to click back on the chairs and I'm holding down shift and selecting all them. And I want to apply the same material we just put on the table. So I'm going to click on this little symbol and then click what we added to the table. And let's see if this is going to work. It may not. It may just ruin what I want, but that's fine. Or maybe it's going to make me start it new. Either way. Oh, it did it to one chair. You might have to do it one at a time. That's fine. There's a faster way, I'm sure, or a more simple way. Someone can correct me. I don't care. Actually, what I should be able to do, yeah, I can always go also here. This is the other kind of way to preview materials. Nodes is this panel right here. This is the one that looks like just this crazy complicated like electrical system thing. So if that stresses you out, you can always just click on like modeling, or I'm sorry, not modeling, shading, and just ignore this and focus on this part. So I have one of my chairs selected. What I can do is grab all of them. And then what I can do is go over here and I should be able to click assign. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to just do this the hard way. That's fine. There we go. That's one way to do it. I'm just clicking right here and it's showing what my recent material makes were. So I don't know why this guy is being difficult. Oh, it's because I have two chairs there by accident. That's my bad. So if you have a white chair that's not changing color, double check. You might have an extra chair that you forgot about. So that was my problem. But sweet. Now I got these like glossy chairs, which maybe that gloss is a little too much. That's kind of a lot, isn't it? So I'm going to dumb that down a little bit. Ah, but evidently that gloss is only applied to a few, so I might have to. It is a learning. I'm learning. There we go. Okay, that's a cute chair set. Yes. Um, so there you go. There's little chairs and tables. Now how do you like save a picture? You like have this great picture and now you like how do you save this? So you can first make sure your camera's in the right spot. So over here, this is your camera. Go ahead and click it, and it shows you this little box is the view that's going to be exported. That's not a great view though. So here's your camera. If you go up a little, there's a little arrow right here. Click and drag that out, and you want to click on view. And we want to click right here that says camera to view. What that means when you click that is now as you move, you're actually moving the camera. So I can place the camera where I want. Perfect. And when I like it, I'm just going to click on the camera and that like brings it out of camera mode. Awesome. So I'm now going to go to up here to, oh, I lied. Back to shading. Up here, right next to file, edit, we're going to go to render image. And it's going to show us what it came up with. That is pretty snazzy. Look at that. That looks great. So you can be done with it here. But just so you know, this is your light. So that was where the light was coming from. It's coming from this. So you can click on this and move this like any shape. So if I scooch this over and I click render image again, you see I just moved it over. So now it's almost like there's a chandelier above this. To save this image on your computer, all you need to do is go to image, save or save as, and you tell it where to save. Boom. All right, good luck making your dining set.